How to create a PNG logo image dissolve vortex effect in DaVinci Resolve 19.0.3. Before creating this effect, you will need to check to see if the image resolution of your chosen logo image file matches the resolution of your project timeline in DaVinci Resolve. If the resolution of your logo image file is smaller than the resolution of your DaVinci Resolve project timeline, the floating particles will disappear abruptly in your final rendered video, as the particles cannot move beyond the canvas size of your original image file. Inside the Edit window of the software, holding Ctrl or Command if you're a Mac user and press I to insert your logo image file. Inside the Media Pool master bin, find the thumbnail for your image file and click on the information box which appears in the bottom right corner of this thumbnail. Find the resolution in the properties below. Here in this example, the resolution is 1000 by 1000 pixels. In order to compare this to the timeline resolution now, select Project Settings from the bottom right corner icon, and in the Master Settings properties, find Timeline Resolution at the top of Timeline Format. If your logo image file resolution already matches that of your timeline resolution, you may skip to the following part of the tutorial stated on screen here. Here we can see that there is an inconsistency with the resolution of the image and the timeline. The 1000 by 1000 resolution of my logo image file is too small for my 1920 by 1080 canvas and may result in an isolated particle animation as illustrated earlier in this tutorial. In order to resolve this problem, excuse the pun, click Cancel to close the project settings. I will click and drag my logo file to the empty project timeline and will select Deliver. Under Render Settings, enter a file name that you wish to apply to your updated image and select a directory in location where you wish the file to be saved in. With render set to single clip, ensure that Export Video is ticked. Change format from MP4 to PNG. Check that the rendering resolution matches that from the timeline that you will use to create this effect. Here in this particular tutorial, I will use the standard default timeline resolution of 1920 by 1080 pixels. Tick Export Alpha to ensure that there is transparency around the logo image itself. On the rendering timeline, with render set to entire timeline, click and drag the small grey dot on the right side which represents Mark Out, and drag this all the way down to frame 0, so that only one image still will be rendered. Otherwise your export location will contain multiple stills of the same image. Select Add to Render Queue and click on Render All. Go to File and open up a new project. Hold and Ctrl and press I and go to open your logo image file with an updated resolution. Click and drag the thumbnail for this image file from your Media Pool master bin to your Edit timeline. Right click on the image edit and go to Open in Fusion page. Inside your Fusion Nodes panel, click to the right of the yellow line connecting Media In 1 to Media Out 1 to disconnect these nodes. Ensure that Media In 1 is selected, hold and Shift and press space. Use the search box at the bottom of the Select Tool window which appears to find the P Image Emitter tool. Select this and go to click on Add. This should be automatically connected to Media In 1. With P Image Emitter still selected, hold in Shift and press space once again, and go to add a P Vortex node. To ensure that the particle effect that you create will be processed in your final video, with P Vortex still selected, hold in Shift and press space once again, and select P Render from the tool window. Click on the grey box alongside P Render 1 and drag your mouse cursor to the yellow arrow of Media Out 1 to establish a connection. Ensure that either left or right view is selected underneath Media Out 1 so that you can see a preview of your particle effect in the window above your Fusion timeline. If you wish to see different parts of your animation effect, you can change the frame pointer number below your Fusion timeline, such as the later stage of frame 17 here for example. Select P Image Emitter, go to Inspector to have a large number of particles generating from random locations of your logo image file. Increment the value of random seed to 250. To have the particles last slightly longer on screen, increment lifespan to 125. To add slight variation to the amount of time that each particle lasts for, I will increment lifespan variance to 5. And to vary the starting location of each particle around my logo, the higher the position variance value, the more spread out the particles will be on the initial emission stage. Here in this example, I will increment this value slightly to 0.015 to avoid having the logo also appear too distorted. To generate particle movement, we will need to increment the value for velocity. Here in this example, I will increase the value here to 0.12 to apply a very steady pace to the flow of particles. And again, to add variety to the animation effect, I will increment the velocity variance value slightly to 0.025. Avoid having this value go over that which you set to velocity to avoid too much speed inconsistency in which the particles flow. If I scroll forward to frame 50, we can see that the current angle settings mean that the particles disappear off to the top right corner of the canvas. In order to have these particles float towards the viewer instead, I will increment the value of angle Z to 270 to help create a general tunnel illusion effect. To increase the size of the particles slightly so that these stand out more, select Style, change Style from Point to Blob. And to amend the size properties, go down to Size Controls. The blob style will add feather to the particles emitting from your chosen image file. To make these particles stand out more, I will increment size to 0.14. To make the scale of the particles vary slightly, I will increment size variance to 0.01. And to have the particles fade out in the final 25% of their lifespans, I will decrement the value for fade out to 0.75 to prevent any particles from abruptly disappearing on screen. Now select P Vortex. To make particles emit from various locations, increment random seed to 1000. To decrease the speed in which the particles flow towards the viewer slightly, I will decrement the value of power to 1.8 for a smoother animation. Note how by default the vortex is rotating in a clockwise fashion. To reverse this so that the particles in the vortex float anti-clockwise, change angle X to 180. Here in this particular example, I will keep this set to 0 so that the particles float clockwise. Return to your edit window. At present in our animation, the particle effect starts straight away, with the original logo only being present on screen for one frame. In order to show your logo before the start of the animation clip, use the Selection Mode tool, which you can also do by pressing A, to drag the image edit across by 5 seconds on your timeline, which you can also see in the box that appears next to your mouse cursor as you drag this edit. Go to your media pool and click and drag on the thumbnail to insert your original image file to the point on the same video track just before the image animation effect. Select the Blade Edit tool, and here I will click on the 2-second mark. I will use the Selection Mode tool once again to select the remainder of this image edit, and will press Delete to remove this, so that the original logo appears for this amount of time on screen before the animation effect starts. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that video was useful to you. If you enjoyed the content and wish to be notified about future uploads on this channel, please like, share and subscribe. Join me soon for another video. Take care.